Now let's modify our geometry a little bit and add some thrusters to the back. So let's jump in, and the first thing I want to do is add kind of a piece coming down and blending into the back, kind of up at the top. So let's go right click and we'll choose some faces up at the front. And let's kind of extend it all the way back down. So we get something like that. Now let's extrude this up. And first I want to scale it in just a little bit, kind of thin it out a little. Let's go to Edit Mesh. This time we're extruding faces, so we're going to go to the face section, do an extrude. Let's go and change our axis, and I want to pull this straight up. And kind of see here where that is, so I'll pull it back a little bit. I can also come in here, click Rotate, sort of rotate it along a single axis, and then pull it down. Now I want to blend this back into the body, so one of the things I can do is to merge these points. So rather than selecting the points and then doing what we did before, which is merge components, let's use the Merge Vertex tool. So we'll go to Mesh Tools, Merge Vertex tool. Now we'll click on a vertex. Go back here, Merge Vertex tool, there we go. Click on a vertex, click on the second vertex. So I'm clicking and dragging, and that'll snap the first one to the second one and merge them together. So I'll just blend those back into the body. Let's take these 3 points, go to Move, let's change our move axis back to World or Object. Kind of pull this down a little bit. Maybe pull this forward a little. Now we are going to be smoothing this geometry out, but we want to get the shape fairly close to what we want. So something like that, where it blends back into the body. Now for the thrusters, let's grab these points, and I want to just kind of make a straight line here. So I'll just grab 2 of them and scale them in. Then let's go ahead and get kind of some of this geometry right here, and we'll extend it across. So something along these lines as far as the geometry that we want to pick. Let's do an extrude, again based on our face section. We'll extrude that, pull it out a little bit, can scale it down slightly. Okay, so we get something like that. Now let's select this section over here and this section over here. So leaving this alone, let's do another extrude. This time we'll hit one of our little cubes and we'll kind of scale this in. Let's pull it out a little bit. G on our keyboard will extrude again. Let's scale it in again. G once again, and now we'll start pushing it in, so taking this Z axis and pushing it in rather than scaling. G again, kind of push this in. Okay, now I want to have a little piece inside here that's inset, so I want to duplicate these faces that we have selected right now. So let's go up to Edit Mesh, Duplicate Faces. And if I pull them out, you can see those are the ones we duplicated, but I want to leave them in the same position. So I'm going to go ahead, go back to Object Mode. I'm going to drag a marquee across everything and then Control click on the main body, and that'll allow me to click one of these. Now with that selected, let's do an extrude on the faces, and we'll pull this out. Okay, and then if you want to sort of rotate it a little bit, get a little bit of a different shape to it. Kind of come in from a screen view. Let's repeat that, and we'll kind of extrude this in. Repeat and push that in. So we now have two separate pieces, this piece and this piece. And we still have one over here, but we'll be able to mirror this, so I'll just delete it. All right. Now I want these to be nice and sharp, so I'm going to use the Insert Edge Loop tool. Drag an edge loop right across here. You can see it snapped to the center because of how we set it before. So let's jump back into the Insert Edge Loop tool and reset the tool. Now if we just click and drag, we can add it wherever we want. And I'm going to add it right under there. Let's also add an edge loop right here to kind of tighten this up. Now it'll make sense when we smooth it by hitting the 3 key. You can see by hitting the 3 key, that gives us a smoothed version of our geometry there. Okay, and so by adding those extra edge loops, we're able to tighten up some of these edges. Where we don't have those edges, it's going to be a little bit softer. All right, so let's say we want to tighten up these edges up here. We can go back to our Insert Edge Loop tool, add another edge loop there, maybe a couple right in there. We'll do the same thing over here on this side, so that when we smooth it, we get sort of this beveled look, nice and sharp. All right. Now if we don't want this edge to be quite so close, we can double click on the edge and then go to our Mesh Tools, Slide Edge tool, and we'll use our middle mouse button to sort of slide that around. So if we slide it away from the corners, then those won't be so sharp when we smooth it out. It'll be something more like that. All right. Let's tighten up the insides of this with a couple of edge loops. Use our Insert Edge Loop tool, and we'll add one right across here and here. Now you can see that those edge loops come in here, so that's going to affect the shape of that geometry. Okay, they also come around all the way up inside. That's going to be fine there. But here we don't necessarily want that to happen, and so in that case we could take our points and merge those components. Let's go to a wireframe. You can see these are the two extra ones. So let's merge components. Come over here and do the same thing. So that'll serve to tighten up the corner of this. Okay. And also, it'll give us some geometry so that we can come in here and let's take some of these points just to add a little bit of more of an interesting shape to this. Let's start to bring this down a little bit. Let's scale it in a little. Something like that. And then let's take these points right down here. I'll control click across to make sure nothing else is selected. Bring this down a little bit. It doesn't have to be exact, but when you then smooth it, you'll get kind of a little bit more of an interesting shape down there. All right, and then you have this piece that we can smooth as well that kind of fits inside. And if you want it to be kind of nice and sharp, again, you're going to want to use your edge loops to do that. So add edge loops wherever you want that to be sharp. 3 edge loops near each other will make it really sharp. And you get something like that. All right, so not so bad. Just keep in mind that we are going to be smoothing this. So 3 on your keyboard allows you to see a smooth version without having to do any sort of conversion or anything like that. And adding edge loops will tighten up edges that seem to be very soft. So for instance, here around our opening, that's very soft. We might want to add edge loop. Also coming up around the side of the kind of the opening where the arms are, you can kind of sharpen that up as well. Okay, you can see right in here where I inadvertently selected an edge or a face, when I did my extrude. So if that happened to you, hopefully not, but you can just start to delete these edges on the inside here to get rid of that, and you'll eventually get back to your basic face. Okay, very easy to fix that. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is go ahead and start to add some tubes to the top here. We can do that using curves. So let's do that next.